Coach Zachariah, Silver Bullet Fitness, coming to you with another video out of, you guessed it, my office here at Anytime Fitness in Southwest Florida. Today, I'm answering the most pressing question of every new trainer, and that is, how much should you charge? So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how much you should charge, some of the concessions and techniques that you may have to actually deploy to get paid, talk to you about the different types of payments that you'll receive, and also how you can protect your money. All right, so how much should you charge? Now, you know I like to give you the most direct information I can, so I'm going to give you the most cut and dry answer I have. Go off of the demographics or the competitive market in your area. So to give you an example, Southwest Florida ranges between $80 an hour all the way up to $120 an hour on average of how much a trainer charges. And I tell you that that's the easiest way to go, because most of the time these averages are based on how much clients in the area, based on economic factors, are willing to pay. And so that is the most easiest way, cut and dry. Look at your demographic, Google it in your area, and find out what the average looks like. That's it. Boom. But of course, the video is not over. So there's a little bit more that we need to talk about in terms of pricing and some of the things that may have to happen early on in your career to achieve the dollar amount that you want as a personal trainer. So let's give you a couple examples. So for me personally, I know that when I first started training, I had a good spot of imposter syndrome, and not everybody gets hit with that, but it can happen, right? You just got into the industry, you haven't gotten your first client yet, and maybe you've never sold anything before. Now, I'd sold things before. I've been a salesperson in my past, so that was a little bit of an easier barrier. But when you're providing a service and you want to do the best possible job you can and you're unsure of yourself, it can be a little tricky when you go, okay, I'm going to ask to charge this large amount of money for this when I've never done this. Okay? And so my best advice for something like that, if you're experiencing that, it's perfectly normal, is to just know that if you're putting in the proper amount of work, putting in the proper amount of energy into your craft, into your profession, that by the time you get through your first 6 to 8 months, when you get to the end of that imposter syndrome will be gone, and you'll be charging exactly what you're worth, and you will be receiving what you're worth. So be confident, push hard, and you'll end up getting there. It's normal to feel it, but don't let it overtake you, all right? But for me, at the beginning of my career, to get to the dollar amount that I make now per hour for my clients, I had to take some concessions in there. I had to choose between nothing and something. And you may end up having to do that as well. You can read a lot of cases of successful trainers, myself included, where I trained for free for a little while. Now, I didn't train for long durations for free, but I did train for free for a little while just to get the experience of training, get my cues down, get my cadence down, and also, most importantly, get people on the gym floor to notice me and to notice that I was training. I would do that with family members. I would do that with friends a lot of the times. And the occasional client I found on the floor, I would give a single free session and sometimes more, just to kind of get into that rhythm, which giving free sessions on the floor, especially if you have an hour to burn, if you had a cancellation for a client or if something happened, is a great way of getting your feet wet and getting people to notice you, okay? Gets the conversation started. So if you're coming into this with this idea that I want to make X amount of money each year, fantastic. It's a great way to know how much you should charge as well. However, if you're just getting started, there are concessions you may have to make, like doing a little free training just to get people into the conversation with you. Getting up to bat is kind of how I look at it, all right? Another concession you may end up having to take is on price, right? So sometimes you might have a rock star kick-ass consultation with a client, get them back into the office or wherever you're doing your sales pitch and be like, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to help you lose that X amount of weight that you want to lose. You're going to feel the best you've felt in the last 15 years. And based on all the things you've told me out there and what I saw, here's how we're going to tackle it. Bang, 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 bang. And you give them the whole thing and you go, and this is what it's going to cost. Boom. Lay it out in front of them. And they look at it and they go, oh man, like I really love all of the things we did and I really want to do this, but like I just can't afford that much per hour. You have a choice to make in that moment. You can either say, okay, well, I guess I can't train you, or you can try to find a middle ground, something that's going to work for you and the client. Maybe you reduce the cost, but you also reduce the duration of the sessions, right? Maybe you reduce the cost, but you increase the duration of the contract if you're using contracts. So you have different ways that you can navigate depending on what your gym allows you to do. So that's very important. If you're in a gym that has set pricing already, not much navigation there. But if you are in a gym that gives you the ability to set your own pricing, or you're even doing it on your own outside of the gym, then this is kind of the conversation for you on that end. If you do have a gym that is setting your prices, my advice for you is to know your prices. Know them very fluently, know how you can break them down into multiple ways, session per hour, yearly cost, monthly cost, bi-weekly cost. It helps to have ammunition when you are pitching your sales to your clients. But if you are setting your own pricing, then sometimes you have to take those concessions and make those concessions, and you can use those concessions to leverage your clients to further benefit your business. So I'll give you an example. Rockstar client, put it out in front of them, boom, this is what I'm charging. I don't think I can do that, unfortunately. Money's tight right now, boom, boom, boom. All right, here's the thing. If I reduce this cost down by this amount, and I don't do this for anybody, okay? This is a very rare thing for me to do. I really want to help you out, and I really want to make sure that you're getting the help you need. So if money is the problem, we can reduce this cost down for you. However, here's what I need from you. I need full 100% commitment out of you, okay? I would like to use you for some of my social media marketing as well, because we're going to make a transformation. I know we're going to do it. So before and after pictures, post your story on my social media. This is what I want from you. If I'm going to reduce this cost, I want you to do the best you can and be as committed to me as you can so we can make the best transformation, right? You can leverage those things in an effort to grow your social media or continue to grow your presence just by bringing that cost down and leveraging the client. So that imposter syndrome goes away because you're fully in control at that point, all right? It's important to know that you don't want to reduce your costs too much. And this might be a whole topic for another video, but they'll lose respect for you and your services if you bring your costs way too low. So be wary of that too. I'll tell some stories in the future about me giving people way too steep of a discount and then them not taking what we do very seriously. So that is some of the concessions and some of the techniques that you can use when pricing. Stick to your guns, try to have the price point that you want. However, it's not always going to work that way, and when you're a brand new trainer trying to get into the industry, you are going to have to settle a little bit just to get comfortable, all right? And that's not just me saying that from my own experiences, that's every new trainer who succeeds has to take those concessions. All right, let's talk about how you're going to receive your pay. So there's a whole tax issue and reason for this, but we'll go into that in a separate video altogether. But how you're going to receive your pay dictates how you can manage or overcome objections price-wise in the selling pitch. So to give you an example, at Anytime Fitness, we run on contracts. So for me, I'm a big believer in running on contracts because I want to guarantee in writing and legal documentation that they are committed to the contract and they're committed to the cost of training throughout the contract, okay? I find and have found that by doing it by pay each session, you can run into situations where either you're trying to hunt your money down because you've trained a person, they haven't paid you yet, or they pay you up front. They say, hey, I'm gonna pay you and then I'll see you at this time. And then they don't show up. And then you're kind of in this little limbo where you're trying to figure out, okay, when are we gonna train? What do I do with this money? I burnt the hour for you, you didn't show up, so I keep the money or I don't keep the money, and how does that manage hostility wise? And so there's all of these kind of different things that you're going to want to consider. Like I said, personally like contracts. I like setting people up on 3-month, 6-month, and yearly contracts because I can guarantee and budget my business out for that duration, and I can guarantee I have work and pay throughout the seasons, which is important. It's summertime right now as this video is going up, and this is some of our biggest attrition time because you get your January crowd, you get your 6 months in, and boom, now you start to get drop-offs. So I like to guarantee that I've got work and clients, a steady stream of clients, for all the other reasons as well, like people seeing me on the floor, social media. I like to have all of those things set up throughout the year, which is why I like to do contracts. Another reason why I like to do contracts, and it depends on if your gym lets you do it, or if you even need help with the contracts, you can send me a message and I'll get you directed in the best place. Or leave a comment below, one of the two. If you're in a position to do contracts, then that's honestly, in my opinion, the best way to do it. And that's why I do contracts. I do them so that I have that duration set, and it makes your client more committed to the journey, and it allows you to paint the picture long term as well. If you're just talking about session to session, it can be a little harder for them to see where they're going to end up in 6 months and how the goal reflects itself in 6 months too. You got a client, you're busting it, you're going crazy, you're working real hard. 6 months come down, look at how much progress we made over 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 6 month, and you're able to kind of program in reverse for your clients as well, which I mentioned in another video, which I'll have linked somewhere around here. So contracts to me are the best way to do it. There are other ways of receiving your money, like I said, pay per session as well. I have a few of those clients that I do right now with pay per session, and so far for me they've worked out. In the past they haven't worked out because, again, oh, I won't pay, oh, I forgot to pay you, I'll pay you double on the next one, and all of a sudden things start to get a little bit hairy, they can be a little bit dicey, your relationship with them can become strained, and you have no way of necessarily getting that money from them at that point because they can just disappear. Also, their commitment changes a lot when they're kind of floating around and doing 1 session here and 2 sessions there and 4 sessions there. So it's really good to say, hey, if we're doing this pay by session situation, you're committing to me that you're doing 2 sessions a week, pay me at the start of the week, and go from there. That's some of the best advice I can give you on that. In other areas, you do have some gyms that do packages where the client will pay a bulk price for a set of 20 training packages or 16 as a whole package of 20 training sessions or 16 training sessions, and you don't get paid until they come in and train or until all the sessions are complete. And that can be kind of a challenging situation for some gyms and for achieving your money. We will talk in another video about how to do retention conversations and collection conversations in an effort to get paid and to keep people training and coming in. Cool. So talked to you about what you should charge, some of the imposter syndrome stuff as well, talked about some of the techniques and concessions you can make in making your money, and just a few examples. There's so many of them, and I'll start doing kind of live Q&As here soon as well so I can answer more questions in real time. Let's talk about how you can protect your money. This one's a little bit trickier because it does require relationships with your clients. It can require legal documentation, and it can require an understanding of your position and your client's position to protect your money. I think it's important to say, and people will disagree with me potentially, but as a new client, as a new trainer, you are very much like eager and willing to help and willing to bend over backwards and willing to put your client first. So this whole conversation so far has been about money and you. But for the most part, when you're a new trainer, you really are trying to make it about your client, because that's ultimately what we do this for, is for the success stories, for the health of the clients we speak to. Because of that, because you're willing to bend over backwards, it's also very easy to get taken advantage of. And the reason why is because you have to understand that a lot of times clients who may be highly ambivalent and maybe low motivated, they don't make this part of their major priority list. They don't. And if you've been in the industry, or if you've just starting out but you've been to gyms, you know that not every gym is packed to the brim. So you know not everybody makes this a priority. And so what'll happen is when something goes wrong, when their motivation goes away, when they start to ignore your accountability text messages, that priority list of paying you starts to go down and down and down. And if they're not spending it on you, they're definitely spending it somewhere else, typically on food, which tends to be kind of counterintuitive to what you're trying to accomplish with your client. So protecting your money is really important. Protecting yourself is really important. And the overarching message I have for that is remember you're a small business, okay? Remember that you are a small business. You are a business that works to survive. Yes, you may be an independent contractor. Yes, you may not pay the rent for the building that you're in, but you do pay your own bills, okay? And at the end of the day, your money and the respect for what you do and the relationship you build with people must be established, right? If you get into situations where you're not being paid, you need to ensure and remember that you are doing them a service and that most people are not accountable by nature, and that them getting hostile or frustrated with you is just another step of you holding them accountable, okay? That is one of the most important things to understand, is that holding people accountable is your job. You're in the accountability business. And if you bend over backwards and cancel sessions and cancel contracts and pause people's billing over and over and over and over again, the likelihood of it working out for you, which is why it doesn't work out for a lot of trainers, is not going, it's not good. The likelihood is not very high. So this is kind of more nuanced information tucked away at the end of this video. And I'll probably do a whole nother video on this as well. But as a new trainer, I want you to understand that you're a small business and you have to come first. You have to. You have to. And as you continue going through this, providing excellent service for your clients, working very hard to ensure that they are getting the service they require, you are going to run into people who do not see the value in that service long term. You are going to run into people who choose other things over you, and bending over backwards is not going to get you paid. It's not going to keep you motivated. It's going to make you you're going to become spiteful towards clients and skeptical of clients when getting into conversations with them. So I want you to consider that and think about that for a second. Think about being a small business. Think about what that means to say, why do I, the person who has your best interest in mind, why am I put on the back burner, but nothing else is? Just keep that in mind, okay? Because it's going to help you in your career long term, where people will respect you more for standing your ground on that. Ways you can practically protect your pay is, like I said, with agreements, right? Agreements and language. So if it's contract, that's the best way to protect your pay. If your gym does like collections work for, if they have a collections agency they work with to get late fees or late payments and stuff like that, that's a great way. Having, retention conversations and collection calls and calling your clients saying, hey, listen, you didn't pay me for this time, or this needs to get paid. I provided you this service, and pressing it is very important as well. And also just setting things up and being paid in advance, or having the understanding of being paid in advance. So let me give you another quick example. I am doing a consultation for a client. They are coming in, and I'm spending an hour with them to get them, to try to sell them training and try to get them in the gym. And they decide to no-show me. Well, I just burnt an entire hour that could have been used on another client or another consult. So some of the language you can use is, hey, listen, super happy to set up this consultation with you. Hey, this consultation does have a $10 cancellation charge. Now, I know you're not going to miss, because based on what we've talked about, you're really, really motivated to do this. So I know you're not the type to miss, but it's just something we do to protect us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you send me $10 now, so that when you show up, then I can send it back to you, no big deal, but just in case you don't show up. So there's ways that you can protect yourself to get you $10 for a consultation is low. But there's ways how to price, and he says $10 consultation. Those are ways to kind of, ensure that you're going to get your payments. Conversations up front, like, hey, here is what we are going to do for the month. If you're doing it by Venmo or Cash App or something like that, here's what we're going to do for the month. So you're going to pay me up front at the beginning, and then we're going to go through our sessions, or you do bi-weekly payments, some way of making sure you're going to get paid ahead of time is the most important thing, okay? Try to collect payment first, not payment afterwards, because that is how you end up getting in bad situations. So, look, this video got a little negative near the end, but it's just a part of the job. It's part of the job they don't tell you about. It's part of the job that the books don't tell you about unless you talk to trainers who have been doing it for a long time. Some of the difficulties in managing clients, especially wherever your demographic is, on making sure that you're getting paid, they're getting the best service you possibly can, and just some of the kind of back and forth that happen in interpersonal relationships like personal training. So if this video helped you at all, if you got to the end of the video, which you did, you did, if you didn't, you didn't. If you found anything useful in here, checking your demographic or understanding the concessions, leave a comment below, like, subscribe. This is episode 2 in the series of On the Road or Path to Get Your First Client, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.